As promised in my deck preview, here's some gameplay I had testing out the Water Earth Control Beatdown deck. In this matchup, I am against Axiom, who is a member of the Elestrals Discord. If you're ever interested in playing on Tabletop Simulator yourself, you can always go check out there. There are plenty of very friendly people who are always willing to play. So as you see here, from the dice roll, I believe I won it, and I chose to go second. Starting hand, so looked good with Nectar of the Gods to draw more cards, as well as Scythe and Demeter to power up my Elestrals to attack over stuff, and Tornado and Poison Tip Arrow as response cards. However, I don't have any Elestrals so far, so I was really hoping to just draw it off of Nectar of the Gods. So my opponent starts off with its own Nectar of the Gods to draw two. While I don't know too much about his deck, as we did not exchange that information at the end of this game, he is running the same exact elements as mine, that being Water, Earth, and Air. And he was playing more than just the good one-drop Elestral package, so I really didn't get a good idea of his build throughout the game. So now it's my turn. Ambrosia, not great right now, but definitely going to be great in the late game. So we start out with my own, after using two Leviathan, and unfortunately draw Shield and another Ambrosia. So while Shield's fine, Ambrosia's not great. Thankfully, my opponent appeared to have a slow start as well, so it's not didn't feel too bad. The reason I chose to use two Leviathan there is because I had the Demeter in hand, so I wanted to save my Earth Spirits for that, and since I didn't have an Elestral to play out, I figured I would probably want to save up Spirits for an Earthquake as well to try to pull back in the game. And while I did have two Ambrosia, I really didn't want to use them right away. I wanted to draw it out for a bit before using them, just to conserve spirits. So just saving the Ambrosias for when I need them, and saving those Earth Spirits for this place to me made logical sense because I could get back the whatever spirits I need later. So P-Gust there on my opponent's side, destroying my Shield of Achilles and being able to expend one. So drew the Foamy, so I wanted to start popping back row, bouncing back to hand to be able to hopefully safely get off a Foamy and attack, at least was the idea. So I do just that, Foamy, and then, yep, this is why I saved the Earth Spirits right here for the Demeter. I think I also wanted to save those Earth Spirits in case I drew the Scythe of Demeter. That way I can start recurring spirits anyway. So let's see, yeah, I just choose to set up a two-spirit, yep, just a two-spirit Demeter to power up Foamy to attack into the P-Gust. That's kind of the idea of the deck, is just be able to easily build up attack over, and maintain board advantage. And the reason I chose to play Demeter was in case of this exact scenario, because if I had enhanced it with Trident, I would have lost that as well. So Shield really strong here. I really wish Trident could counter it by targeting, as I don't know if I stated it in the deck profile itself, but I definitely have stated at some point in recording. So that's like a small balance change I would like to see. I don't know if it's a good one, but I would like it. So just to bounce back the Poison Tip Arrow there, just to make it so P-Gust can attack safely, not too worried about the Demeter here. Really seeing how Tornado doesn't feel that great when your opponent sets multiple back row here, which is going to be one of the common trends I see here. So I'm forced to expend two spirits, and I chose one earth, one water, because I still want to, I've used a lot of water, I want to hold on to them. So got two more reactionary cards, which is nice to try to get backboard control. Able to play out another Foamy. And let's see what I choose to do here. Right away, just Gorgon's Gaze, meaning I don't need to waste any more spirits to power it up, as Foamy cannot attack. Definitely feels like one of the weaker counter runes, as it slows down the opponent, but also with the other counter runes, especially Shield, just having your opponent play more into it is really good. While Gorgon's the same exact cost, yet just really stalls for a turn. Doesn't really get as much value as Shield does. I don't think it's worth it. So he Ambrosia's here to get back some spirits. I forget what his spirit count was at this point. I think just also filtering for more, just probably some more wind spirits because he wanted to play out more. As of course P-Gust enchanting will be really good here to start popping stuff, especially since he has the board advantage here. You can easily try to proc something off a P-Gust to hopefully be able to get one of them to attack safely. So after that, so So talking while we wait for the footage to get caught up to where my opponent makes an action, I'm really just hoping that I can keep floating foamy into more foamies and then hopefully draw my ascensions to really start keeping control of the board. As I've also, yep, there you go, he attacks, so I Shield of Achilles. Especially since I'm now have more count. Well, we're 1-1 now, but I'm starting to feel like I'm getting back some control with my own counter runes, having forced my opponent to use his. Um, that's right. Yeah, the game got reverted. It reloaded there. We thought it got reverted for a second, but we just keep on playing as everything seems to be normal. And oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah. So really hoping here that I can start drawing to my Ascension pieces to get going. Globby obviously would be great to get some more draw going as my hand size is pretty low. But with a Foamy out on board, Capragol would also be great as I can start building up more board advantage. With Demeter and Trine of Poseidon in hand, if my opponent doesn't have more ways to deal with it, it's going to be increasingly hard for him to come back on the board state, especially with all the counter runes he has already used. So here, just call it another Foamy. No reason not to. It keeps floating into stuff. It synergizes with Capragol, so really good. Get a Scythe of Demeter here, which actually isn't that great with no Elestrals on board, as I would need the Elestrals, as it needs to destroy an Elestral to get its recursion effect. So no reason really to play either of those and risk losing spirits here. So I think here I end up just tacking instead of doing anything. I'm still at 7 spirits, so I don't think Ambrosia is very necessary. And personally, for my style of play, oh, I expended one to draw one. That was a good play. Get a Tad Puff. So while I could definitely special enchant into Tad Puff, I feel like Tad Puff's better saved for when you have an Ascension in hand, so you can go straight into it. But as I was saying about Ambrosia, I really feel like Ambrosia is best played not just when you have it, but rather tactically. That way, whenever you need to get back some spirits, you can. Obviously, if you're running out of spirits and you know you're going to lose, definitely play it. But I definitely don't think Ambrosia is a card that you just, if you draw, you play, as you can get so much better utility if you wait. And with the resource system in this game, I really feel like that's just a common thing. Oh, resting on your laurels. So this is a great way to out Foamy, as Foamy's ability only triggers when destroyed in battle, so now he doesn't have to deal with the Foamy unless I start recurring it if I can get out a Capragol. But as it stands, I just pass, and my opponent throws out a Crackhead, also not very great, but can start just expending spirits. So, oh, here we go. I drew into the Capragol. So here I am able to use Tadpuff to immediately ascend up into Capragol here, using up the rest of my water spirits. But that's honestly not that big of a deal with 2 Ambrosia in hand, as I can recur back really any 3 spirits I need, so I have whatever I need. So I choose to use the Ambrosia here, just to be able to get back those water spirits, as I need all of them to finish it off. So it also gives me access to Trident, if I so choose to. So Tadpuff, and then Ascend, Capragol, and Poison Tip Arrow. So while this means I'll lose my Capragol, it still really isn't enough to stop me from getting some value on board, as Capragol will still have plenty of attack. It'll still get off its effect even if it's destroyed. So not the most ideal situation, but definitely the more preferred over, say, another Shield of Achilles. So obviously flow into the Foamy, and my opponent's forced to expend 2 spirits here since Foamy can attack the turn that it's played out by Capragol's ability. So especially, the other nice thing is I really like how Poison Tip Arrow is worded, as it gets around Trident of Poseidon since it's when the Elestral is enchanted, which is one nice thing. And my opponent shows it's destroyed here. But the other thing I really like about Poison Tip Arrow is it's one of those options where your opponent can still do stuff. So like here, I chose not to equip with Scythe the Demeter, which I was planning on doing to start recurring more spirits, because I didn't, ultimately I'd pay 2 spirits to get back 2 spirits. So I saw no reason to when I can hold the Scythe to equip onto the Foamy. As long as with my opponent not having any more counter runes up, unless he has access to another form of destruction like an earthquake, I'm feeling pretty confident right now that I will be able to keep my Foamy surviving and equipped it next turn. So he goes into Veritaqua. I go my own Poison Tip Arrow. Thinking about it now in hindsight, I don't think the Poison Tip Arrow is the best here, because I could have let him destroy Foamy and float into another Foamy, or another Foamy again, or really, Foamy would be the only target here. So I actually think it would have been better not to play the Poison Tip Arrow just for the -2 attack. since spirit-wise, it's exactly the same. So here I'm down to 2, so I can Ambrosia to send back definitely 2 Leviathan and a Atlas just to make sure I still have access to Scythe, as now I've used both my Ambrosia, so Scythe will be really good to start recurring cards. So my opponent does have 1 set, which is a bit scary, but here I really just had to go for the play. So I equip Scythe, and I believe just, yep, attack over with Foamy. So it's my response. Nope, just expends 2 spirits, and I'm able to get back the 2 to Rattless, really kind of pulling me back in the late game. So I was able, even though I didn't have the Elestrals on board necessarily, the getting ahead on my own counter rune, or forcing him to play his counter runes first and then be able to respond with mine, as well as once I got an Elestral, really was coming in handy here. So now I think we're getting to the point where unfortunately the server crashed, so we never actually ended up finishing this game. But I still thought it was a great one to show what the deck could do and how some of the strategies that were working here. Of note, I did kind of notice that I was waiting to draw my Elestrals since I had an off turn that I really didn't like, so that was kind of my first hint to run more Elestrals. It's a common thing that will be seen throughout the gameplay. Let's see, what does my opponent do here? 2 Earthquakes into an Earthquake, yep. So that takes care of my Foamy, and unfortunately doesn't let me do anything, so he enchants a P-Gust, destroying Demeter, and expends 1 spirit. So that's a bit rough, but I still have an ability to misenchant a Peliquarius and set up my own Trident to get over the P-Gust. So able to do that, doesn't deal any damage. I know my opponent's at fairly, yeah, it looked like 2 when I hovered over it real quick. And then I get to, oh yeah, he's expended 1, but that was incorrect because I was only at 1 spirit, or he might even thought maybe Trident expended an extra one, but it doesn't. So here he draws his card, and it's around this turn where I believe the server crashes because up goes Leviathan into Pandacine. And yeah, here was kind of the stall match here that we never got to see the end of. So he misenchants a Pandacine, so I can't attack over it with my 4 attack. But so it became a battle of, do I draw my Ambrosia to be able to recur some spirits? Because then, as you see, I have the Globby here, which I would have been able, if I had Ambrosia, I could have ascended into the Globby. I could even have Ambrosia to get an Earthquake, just start attacking over it. So I had a few options here, and as you see, I'm kind of going through the deck. We kind of recognize that it is, oh no, sorry, this is my discard. So I'm just kind of thinking what my outs are, and it ends up being pretty much just Ambrosia to recur spirits, even though I lose Trident. So really the battle was, can I draw into an Ambrosia to hit over the Pandacine before my opponent can draw into his own out, whether it be destroying Trident Poseidon or even getting a 5 attack card out, which if he had Sorlet, that would have been enough, and at that point I wouldn't have been able to come back. So that is about it for this game. I believe we're just kind of talking over it here, and as I said, the server will crash anyway, so I never got to finish the game to see if it would draw. I do know from shifting through my deck, it was unlikely. I was like 13 cards down, so. But I will be posting the other game. I have another match against Gaijin that I will be uploading, I believe amongst 2 parts. It's 3 games, but 2 of them are really quick, so you can look forward to that one later this week.